Welcome to the second episode of the Takapuna Beach Business Association podcast, where we uncover tips and tricks that you can directly apply to your own business. Today, we are in studio with Stuart Sinclair, co-owner of David Foreman. Before we get started, I'd like to invite you all to check us out online at starlightmediahouse.co.nz if you haven't already done so. We're a multimedia production house, live event and entertainment specialists, and we especially enjoy working with local businesses, creating interesting audio-visual packages. We'd love to hear from you and are always keen to meet other locals in the community. Likewise, you can subscribe to this podcast and send through any thoughts and suggestions for future episodes from our site or from takapunabeach.co.nz. Hello Stuart, welcome to our studio.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to get started straight away. So for those that are unfamiliar with you, with your business, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and David Foreman?
Sure. Well, David Foreman as a company was formed 43 years ago by David Foreman and his wife here in Auckland. And I guess now we are well and truly regarded as New Zealand's leading business training company. We focus on three main areas of business: on sales and all the bits that go with sales, so sales management, negotiation, presentation skills, all those sorts of things, leadership, and what we loosely term personal effectiveness. So as part of our business, we have the license in New Zealand for Franklin Covey, which is a major global company. So we run their programs in New Zealand as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to get into the real nuts and bolts, the nuggets
Yep.
that you can share with our listeners.
Sure.
So from an expert's standpoint, should businesses concern themselves with employee training? And what are some of the repercussions and benefits that you've personally observed?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, clearly from our point of view, we absolutely believe that employee training is vital. I mean, it's the sort of thing that, for a start, any leader in a business, I think, has an absolute responsibility to grow and develop their people, and training is a hugely important part of that process. And I think also that in the world we live in today, it is such a competitive marketplace that training and development these days is seen as a major both recruitment and retention strategy for organisations. So, and especially, I guess, the Gen Yers and the millennials now, a big part of what makes up their decisions when they're looking at career opportunities and organisations they want to work with is who is going to help me grow my career and help me get to where I want to be. And so that's a really important part for a lot of people. Okay,
from my standpoint, working for a multimedia house as well, I'm interested to know, for a corporation, say some of the fast food joints that have a really high turnover of staff training, how important and how valid is, say, online learning and online training? Is that something you guys do? Do you see a future for that?
Yep. Absolutely, yeah. It's a hugely, it's going to be a hugely important part of the landscape in years to come. We've actually just come back from a conference in the US where online was a big focus and has been around in the US for a long time. In New Zealand, we've typically only seen online learning for things like compliance type training, health and safety, induction, that sort of thing. We're going to see it more and more, and we're going down the path right now of exploring it for what are commonly more called soft skills type training, so things like customer service, sales, leadership, that type of thing.
And is it a mixed mode learning?
Very much, yep. I guess the buzz phrase is blended learning. Yep. So it's a combination of what happens in a typical sort of classroom type setting, and then supporting that is things that can happen online prior to the workshops, after or in between. More and more workshops now are modular, so it might be sort of a day here and a day next month and a day the month after, and the online stuff sort of fills the gaps in between with relevant workplace activities.
Absolutely, it keeps them inspired and keeps them motivated as well. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, our next little nugget. It would seem that with large employers, the question of training becomes a necessity, but would this apply equally to smaller businesses as well?
Oh, look, absolutely. I mean, I think, as I said, with every market is now just so competitive, and every business, I think, is always looking for an edge. And we live in a world now of Me Too marketing where, you know, it's just about every market that you can think of. You know, you go to a supermarket and you look for soap or shampoo or toilet paper or whatever. There's 20 options on the shelves. So for a lot of small businesses, a lot of businesses overall, but particularly small businesses, where if they need to differentiate themselves from their competition. In most cases, that's really, really hard to do with the products or services they offer. And where they have the most opportunity to do that is with their people. So if they can help their people stand out from the crowd and help their people be better than their competitors and provide better service, then that gives them a real edge in their market.
Do you think the insight that somebody might have, or using that training that they offer could be more of a draw card for people looking for a future career? They know they're going to get great training while they're employed by a certain company.
Oh, look, there's no two ways about that. There's plenty of research that supports that. But anecdotally, we see that all the time where, as I say, particularly younger people coming into the workforce or have been into the workforce for, maybe 4 or 5 years or whatever out of uni, a major decision in their, a major factor in their decision as to who do I want to work for is who's going to offer me the sort of training that's going to take me where I want to go.
Yeah, set them up for the future.
Absolutely.
I love it. All right, next little nugget. If a small business recognises the importance of implementing employee training, how can they go about this on a small budget?
Yeah.
What are some of the grassroots techniques that we, if you call them, that they can focus on to give them the best results?
Okay. I guess the first thing I'd say there is that any sort of training has to be, and this is so cliche, but it's got to be so true, has to be regarded as an investment and not a cost. I.e., if you are going to invest money in your people to help them learn new skills, develop new confidence in certain areas, you need to expect a return on that investment. In some areas that can be directly measurable, in areas like sales particularly, where you can look at, this is a person or an organisation sales right now, and 6 months, 12 months after training, this is where we've got to. And so you can directly map that, but you've got to be able to look at return on investment in any area. So I guess what I'm saying is good training, not all training, I can tell you that, but good training should more than pay for itself. So for a start, if a company invests in training, they should expect to see a return in terms of the people's lift in performance and results. So I guess that's the first thing. In terms of how they go about that, it's very difficult for people who are not training professionals to train properly. There's lots and lots of people with great knowledge within organisations who think that they can, I can get my team in a room and I can tell them what they need to do. A very, very, again, old adage in training is telling ain't training.
No, right.
And on a logical level we might hear, yep, I should do this, I should do that, don't do this, don't do that. But in most cases, that has very, very little impact on people's behaviours.
So is it the case of really having the right person to be the right trainer?
Oh, look, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. And in fact, we have organisations now that we work with, some of our clients, where they say to us, look, I could stand up and do this with my people, and I know this stuff, but they're sick of hearing it from me. We need someone independent from the outside, some expert, who they're going to take a lot more notice of, because it isn't the same voice they hear every day of the week. Having said that, I mean, some of these people who could do it, again, they are maybe quite capable as teachers, but again, teaching isn't training. There is a real skill to what we regard as true facilitation, and that's actually not me telling you what to do, but me asking you the right sort of questions and creating the right sort of environment that you figure it out for yourself. And if you do that, the learning for you is going to be so much greater than just hearing it.
It'll be much more internal, won't it? So you're having those light bulb moments over and over again as you're connecting with that knowledge.
Yep, and you take ownership for the learning rather than someone trying to force it on you.
And of course, the benefits of that would be a person's going to feel more confident with that knowledge, so they're going to do a better job, right?
Totally, yep. And have a greater commitment to put the stuff into practice, because it's not my idea that I'm trying to enforce on someone, but it's hey, this is what I figured out. This is how I can make it work for me. Yeah, and that's so much more powerful.
I totally agree with you there. All right, just from doing a bit of research, there's a mention on your blog about a new paradigm in training where sales techniques have shifted to a more consumer-based approach, where it's a lot less about the salesperson and what they're selling and more about what's important to the customer. Why has this come to be, and why do you feel it's important for businesses to acknowledge?
Okay.
It's a good one.
It is a good one, and I'm thrilled that you've read the blog. And that came about actually from just being away at this conference in Dallas last week, where what was staggering to us is there was discussion by some leading people in big corporations in the States about this shift. And we were just blown away looking at that, thinking, that's crazy. I mean, this isn't a shift that's just happening now. This happened or needed to happen, 20 years ago. And certainly in terms of the way we've been doing things, the focus we believe in selling has always got to be about the customer and their needs, not at all about the salesperson and what they're selling. And I guess, again, that shift has come about primarily through competition. You know, the days of Henry Ford's, you know, any colour you want as long as it's black type of thing are long gone. And now the buyer has the power.
They're a bit more discerning,
perhaps?
perhaps?
They are absolutely more discerning. And the days where salespeople used to be able to, you know, slide things by customers and baffle them with all sorts of rubbish and get away with it, just doesn't happen now. People are too savvy. And the stakes are higher. So
is it more about the experience for the customer?
Yeah, it is
as much as the product.
It's absolutely, and I mean I've seen plenty of situations. I've had examples myself where I bought something where I've been really happy with what I bought, but really unhappy with the customer experience. And not only would I not go back there, I tell every man and his dog that listens not to.
I understand.
So of course the reverse applies. That if we create great customer experiences, not only do we get repeat business. And we get loyalty, but we get even something better than that, advocacy, where people are going out there telling everyone else how great we are and doing our job for us.
I love it.
And
so it's really that rapport building, isn't it?
Totally, yeah.
I love it. In terms of customer service, what key ideas can you share with listeners to help them truly deliver remarkable customer service? And why do you think this is a fundamental part of business success?
Okay. I'll answer the second part first. So why is it so important? Again, competition. You know, businesses these days have to find their edge. They have to find what's commonly referred to in marketing as their USP, their unique selling point.
Of course, yeah.
Why should someone do business with me rather than my competition? They've got to be really clear on that first. And again, I guess one of the keys with that is that it's so hard to differentiate with the products that we offer these days, because they're all so similar. So we differentiate through our people. And so the customer service that is what makes the biggest difference in terms of why people typically choose to do business with one company versus another. How they go about it? I mean, again, there's lots and lots we could say here, but I'll limit it to 2 or 3 key things. Firstly, attitude is far more important than skills. And when I say that, I'm not certainly demeaning skills required to be good in customer service, but there are people who I've seen who have good skills, but they aren't genuine, and that comes across to people. You know, all the old obvious stuff, a smile, a hello, and being really genuine about it. You know, looking like that you actually want to be there and you want to do what you can to make this experience for your customer a really good one, is huge. You know, that goes a long way. I think the other thing with customer service in today's world, it's no longer good enough just to meet our customers' expectations. We've got to exceed them. Because if we meet them, the typical response is, oh yeah, whatever, just what I thought. It's only if we go above and beyond and we create an experience that is beyond what they were expecting, that's where we get loyalty, that's where we get advocacy.
And you mentioned earlier that if somebody's getting really good training and they're having those light bulbs and they're feeling inspired about their product, they're more likely to deliver that. Is that right?
Totally, absolutely. And you know, we see it all the time where people walk away from training programs and honestly, it's just amazing where people go, I can't wait to get back to work and really get stuck in and make this work.
That's
and
exciting.
It's so exciting to see. And then when we follow up 3 months and 6 months later and see the sorts of results, you know, but that sort of enthusiasm is infectious and customers buy into that. So that's a hugely important part of it. And the one other thing I would say is that most people understand that in business things don't always go perfectly all the time.
No, that's true.
One of the best things you can do in customer service is when there is a problem, you do a great job at sorting it, because most people don't. So if you do, you stand out from the crowd. You know, if it might be some little issue, there's a problem on someone's account or a delivery wasn't made on time. If you do whatever you can do to either fix it or at the very least show how much you care and that you're going to do things to try and ensure it won't happen again, people love that, and that's the sort of thing that buys loyalty.
I love that. So a slightly contentious question then, and you don't have to answer, is the customer always right?
No, but there is a real skill in helping them believe that they are.
That they are.
Yeah.
Nice answer. I love that. All right, David Foreman offers a range of programs which listeners can refer to on your website.
Yep.
What are the most popular training programs that you offer, and are there any trends in how businesses choose to train staff that you have observed?
Yep.
So it's a pretty good question there too.
Sure. Well, for us, our flagship program is sales development, which is our sort of our introductory, what we call our foundation sales program.
Right.
And that actually covers people, literally we have people from day one of their careers
Wow.
Walking in the door so green to
Real
people who
grassroots
have,
stuff.
Totally, yep. But on the same program, we'll have people who've been in a sales role for 20 years, but maybe never have had any sort of formal training.
Right.
And quite often, again, I get a huge buzz when they come up at the end and sort of say, I didn't really want to be here because I sort of know this stuff, but boy, I've realised that I don't do it.
Great for the clarity as well, yeah,
Absolutely. And I guess in terms of trends, one thing I would say is that there's lots and lots of people out there who do training, and a lot of the training is telling. It is just simply an information dump of here's what you should do.
Rather than active engagement.
Yep. And I guess for us, we use the term, and again, it's really cliche, but we believe our USP, we use the term behaviour change. And we are really strong on the fact that if people walk out of a training program, workshop or whatever, and go, wow, that was awesome, or even, wow, that was rubbish, but either way, but whatever, they go back to work and they keep doing things the way they've always done it, total waste of time and money.
Absolutely.
So clearly, if it doesn't result in new behaviours that are going to lead to better performance, better results, then don't do it.
And so those new behaviours would happen pretty instantly because they're still inspired from the course.
Yep, but of course the key to training is not what's happening, a day, a week, even a month afterwards, but how that's translated into consistent, sustained behaviours 6 months or 12 months later. And that's the real measure.
Okay, that's fantastic. So do you have a success story of a company that you've worked with that you're happy to share or talk about? Tell us about your success.
Oh boy, we've got lots. I'll give you a very, very current one. We've just started a small project with a company, and I probably can't say who at the moment.
Right.
But they have one small part of their business. They have a core part of their business. They were looking to generate sales, extra sales, and one sideline product, if you like. We did a project with a team of their people just a few weeks ago down country, and we had some feedback just 2 days ago saying that not only have their people just their enthusiasm has gone through the roof, but already they've seen a 66% increase in sales of that product
incredible.
line. And that's we've had one workshop, and there's a follow-up one. And we weren't expecting that sort of results. We said to them, you're not going to see amazing results overnight. So they've said that their people, as I say, their enthusiasm is huge, but as I say, tangible increase in sales of 66% as a result of one day program. Now that's, I'd have to say, not normal, and we don't say to people,
so you don't say guaranteed 66% better.
Absolutely, but and typically more and more of our training is done in a modular approach. So rather than try and sort of cram everything you wanted to know about blah in a day or two or whatever, we'll do 2 or 3 key skill sets today, go away, put them into practice over a month or 6 weeks, get back together as a group again, we review how it's worked, what hasn't, of the stuff that hasn't, why not, and we sort of develop some best practice around that, and then move on to the next skill.
So it's growing bit by bit.
Absolutely.
And just sort of adding on to the development they're already having.
Totally.
How does it feel then as a trainer and being in the training industry to see that really the work's kind of life-changing and behavioural changing? How does that personally feel? Is that quite gratifying?
Oh, I tell you what, I say to people all the time, and I don't say this, I love what I do with a passion. I absolutely love it. And I think I'm hugely lucky. And for me, I guess not only do I love it, but I get that sense that what we do matters. And you actually see light bulb moments from people on a regular basis. I love it even more though when people come up, as I say, you do a follow-up 6 months later, and they come up and sort of say, boy, that stuff, particularly with a couple of our programs, our Franklin Covey programs, we have one called the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yep, great program.
And it's amazing, and people get as much out of that helps them in their personal lives as in their professional lives, which is great. And lots of businesses are really happy with that, which is even better. But where people come up, and I've done, I counted up the other day, I've probably run that program around 50 times over the last 7 years. So however many people that equates to, about 400 or 500 people. And I regularly have people say to me, that has changed my life.
Yeah.
It's changed
so
my
of
life.
course, is that then having a repercussion or sort of a circular or cyclical effect that it's now, because they're happier in their personal lives as well, is that affecting their work output?
Oh, look, absolutely. And that's, smart organisations, smart leaders recognise that people are people first and employees second.
That's
so, if they can help their people be more balanced, happier, whatever in their personal lives, clearly that's going to have a positive impact at work.
I love it. Well, that just about wraps up all the questions for the show. Was there anything else that you want to share with the listeners? Any more golden nuggets that you may have that you may feel will be of value for them if they're considering training?
I guess, as I said, I mean, clearly I'm biased, but I think training is a wonderful investment in people, an investment in business. I would really urge people to, as I said at the start, to treat it as an investment and not a cost.
Right.
It is the thing that provides the biggest differentiation that businesses can offer today. And it has to be something that people get a tangible and noticeable difference in their business. And if they're not, I would suggest that the training isn't the right training for them.
Got you. I love it. That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much. Thank you to Stuart Sinclair from David Foreman for coming into our studio today. I really appreciate you taking the time to pop in, so thank you.
You're very welcome.
I'm Monique Bradley from Starlight Media House, and I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to our podcast. If you have any suggestions or questions, you can contact me directly at starlightmediahouse.co.nz. Till next time, ka kite anō.